Disturbing new developments after last week's mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. CBS News has obtained records showing both the Army Reserve and a Maine Sheriff's Department knew that the gunman, Robert Card, had made threats, that his mental health was deteriorating, and he had access to firearms. Nancy Chen has our report.
In May, more than 5 months before Robert Card shot and killed 18 people, his family reached out to the Saginaw County Sheriff's Office. They said Card's mental health was declining. He had started getting angry and paranoid in January, was falsely claiming people were accusing him of being a pedophile, and had access to firearms. According to records from the sheriff's office, a deputy called the Army Reserve Base in Saco, Maine, and learned officials there also had considerable concern. 2 months later, in July, Card was admitted for treatment at a psychiatric hospital after the Army said he was behaving erratically, hearing voices, and making vague threats. He was released 2 weeks later. In September, the threats escalated. The Army Reserve said he threatened to shoot up the drill center at Saco and other places, and requested the Sheriff's Department do a wellness check at Card's home. His unit commander said, "I would rather err on the side of caution since he is a capable marksman." That day and the next, a sheriff's deputy went to the home but failed to contact him, prompting deputies to issue a statewide alert, warning he was known to be armed and dangerous. On September 17th, a deputy made contact with Card's brother, who said he would work to secure any firearms Card could access. 1 month later, the statewide alert was canceled, exactly 1 week before the mass shooting. Chris Swecker is a former deputy director of the FBI.
It looks to me like the bigger failure was on the part of the Army. I think the Sheriff's Department should have done a more proactive welfare check.
For CBS Mornings, Nancy Chen.
A lot of disturbing questions now that need to be answered. It sounds like so many people tried to intervene, and yet it still fell through the cracks, and he was still able to do this heinous thing.
Yeah, I mean, having talked to lawmakers in Washington about this issue, defenders of the Second Amendment, they want red flag laws to allow for the removal of weapons from people who are dangerous, but they don't want that to impinge on due process and people's rights to own a firearm. And it's clearly we're not finding the balance, because I don't think anyone would say that this was an individual who needed a gun and deserved a gun.
And it saddens me that there are multiple red flags after such a tragedy, because it seems like there were moments where somebody could have stepped in and done something about this before it got to this point.
I'd be thinking if I was a family member, guys, sitting here who had lost someone,
angry.
in addition to the grief, now I'm very, very angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing was done.